Do you carry several pieces of equipment with you?
Yeah,
You go out
just
to different areas?
plans, do you know, all kinds of stuff.
And I know you have to have different things. You go to factories or whether you go to residential.
Right. Books, paperwork, I mean, just, there's always something with me.
We need to go ahead and put it on the agenda and we'll vote on it Monday night. Okay? Another vehicle purchase, police department.
Yes, it's Public Safety Month, and
Yeah.
we also, in the budget is a new police patrol vehicle. There's one budgeted in Fund 129, and as we've gotten into this procurement process, Chief Webb has requested a second vehicle to come from the drug fund. That was not in the approved budget. We would facilitate this transaction through a budget amendment later this year.
We've done that before. Our chief took another drug fund.
Yes, sir.
And this is on state contract.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is an allowable purchase through the drug fund?
Yes.
Is there
There's certain things that can and can't be spent on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the state comptroller's office has some guidelines that have been in place since like 1992, and you can't spend it on reoccurring costs like for some types of fees or dues or that kind of thing, but to buy equipment for the police department, you can use it. It's an allowable expenditure for the.
I don't think we think you use it for salaries or anything like that either.
That's correct.
That's for equipment or something.
Does the Dodge Durango, it's my understanding they have the same engines as the Dodges you have now?
Yes, sir. They'll have the 3.6 Pentastar V6 engine that's in the Chargers.
Have they did any upgrades on those engines, like Marty Ward's vehicle and a couple others? There's been constant engine problems. Have they addressed that problem?
I think the situation you're talking about with Marty's vehicle, we've rectified it. We determined it was like a fuel injection issue, but it's running okay. The only issue Marty's got now is some type of power steering issue, which we're about to replace his vehicle. It's hit 100,000 miles. We're about to replace
I'll just
it.
inquire about the engines.
We're the only thing that that they can't give us any definite answers about. You remember we sent Scotty and Bill to that Police Fleet Expo in Savannah, and all the manufacturers are there, and so they were all asking about the radiator fans, and it's kind of funny story to tell. When the radiator fans go bad, they sound like a gun going off. I had a midnight shift sergeant sitting on the side of the road, and his radio, first one we had to happen, radiator fan, they like I said, sound like a gun going. He thought somebody was shooting at him. And so we have had issues with the radiator fans on that engine, and they really can't give you a definitive answer. They don't know. So it's one of those things.
You're confident in the Dodge Durango?
Yes, sir. Yeah, the Durango, I think, once again, is what I refer to as a force multiplier. It's an all-wheel drive vehicle. It's a pursuit-rated vehicle, and they're less expensive than the Ford Explorers. So, well, that's what I like.
You're going to surplus two, or
Yes, sir.
two of the older cars?
Yes, sir. These will replace two of the older vehicles. Some of the vehicles we have that are like 13 years old that have over 150,000 miles on them.
Did you get your two trucks? Were they?
Still waiting on one. It's
Got one.
at the dealership in Columbia, getting the spotlight put on it, and it should come in any day.
Okay. All right, that'll be on the agenda. I'll put that on there.
Yes, sir.
So let's just go ahead and talk about another public purchase for the Public Works Department, another vehicle.
Yes, at their last meeting, the Loudon Utility Board approved surplus of a bucket truck exhibited last month. When I say exhibited, it was brought here for your viewing. And now that has occurred, this city council can move to purchase that vehicle.
Yeah, I think we all, most of us looked at the vehicle, know where it's a one owner, correct? Utilities bought it new, so we know the truck. I think most of us agreed that it would be a lot more expensive than $60,000 if we tried to buy that same truck somewhere else.
I think that's 300,000.
So utility board has surplused it now. It's just we have to approve the purchase. Any questions about that?
Phyllis, did they get new tires put on?
Yes. Thanks to Councilman Brewster, you brought that up.
It actually had some problems.
Yeah.
So it had an issue with tires.
Yeah.
So they had.
All right, that'll be on the agenda for Monday. Okay, I guess the next one is a diagnostic computer.
Yeah, most everything you've seen or heard about prior to this meeting, this is an exception. It's a diagnostic computer recommendation comes from the Public Works Department. Public Works Director Ellis Scruggs has identified a certain diagnostic computer which he believes can add efficiency to the maintenance team and ultimately save cost. Its purchase price is about $9,000. It's below our purchase policy, but close enough to where I thought I'd bring it to your attention.
Is there some training that comes with that, or
Yes, there's training.
in that price?
Yes.
Okay.
And just to give you a little backstory, right now, we don't have the ability of doing the maintenance on our large vehicles. You know, our diesel vehicles, our CDL vehicles, bucket trucks, garbage trucks. Just since I've been here, we've spent close to that amount in maintenance fees, you know, shipping these things out. And I'm not talking major maintenance, I'm talking diesel regens, computer reprogramming, things that our guys could be doing if we have the capability.
So this basically tells you where the problem is, and
And you can actually do programming changes. The only thing you cannot do is an EEPROM change, and that's because that's an OEM manufacturer, you know. But everything else it can do is they can do programming changes, they can do diesel regens, a lot of things that utility guys, they've got a bucket truck right now that once a month they've got to pay someone to come out and do a regen on that bucket truck.
we should eliminate that.
Yes, we've talked to Jim McKee, one of the things to help kind of offset the cost, we would maybe look at doing a $150 service charge every time we do a code read for them, to kind of help offset the charge.
Offset the charge, okay. Seemed like a smart purchase.
How often does this have to be updated?
I can't believe we don't have one.
Yeah, we should.
That's the shocking thing.
It's got an annual update.
We don't even have one.
I want to say it's like $250 update fee annually.
In the 20th century, I don't know how you turn a car without one.
Like I said, we don't do any maintenance, and this also, just FYI, it does our agricultural vehicles as well, our boom mower, side mower, things that right now, again, our side mowers, since I've been there, we probably spent $2,500 just in DEF issues. This will help diagnose and move in that direction.
Sound like a smart purchase? Okay, that'll show up next week as well. Okay, a rezoning request for Cedar Park Drive.
This comes to us directly from the Loudon County Regional Planning Commission. They met this past week and recommended rezoning of property at Cedar Park Drive from C2, that's highway business, to R3, that's the new urban residential district recently approved. This property's not far behind Bojangles is the profile.
Councilmember Dixon, you have anything you want to add to that since you're on the planning
Yeah,
commission?
we recommend that we accept this because it came before us. It's 11 acres, actually, is what it.
First phase, the first phase of it.
Yeah.
And what this R3 does is just has different building codes, setbacks and things like that. That is what houses are being built today to these specs. So this would be first reading. Speaking to the developer, he would like to start excavating 1st of October. So if we could approve this on first reading September 16th, it may require a special call meeting the next week to go ahead and get the second reading done so they could be ready to start 1st of October. If the council's okay with that, we'll set that next Monday night as far as the date for that,
I agree.
That will work, but
just to not hold them up, so. Okay, any questions about that?
Based on that feedback, I think you'll have a quorum.
Yeah, I think so. We'll set the date next Monday.
That's not enough time to get public notice for the special call meeting before
If we do it,
No, well, no, I'm more concerned about the public hearing. That's an ordinance and the public hearing has to be set as well.
how many days? I mean, if we set it for September 30th, that's 2 weeks from, does that give you enough time?
Chris?
Yeah, if it.
Public hearing had the special call.
In the paper next Wednesday?
It is enough time. So do a public hearing and a special call meeting the same night?
Yeah, same night. I mean, can we do that?
Chris?
Yeah.
I think it'd be a good idea too, to come here. Lynn will be here, what
You want me to call Pat Hunter for y'all?
No, our attorney's looking at that.
Yes, it'll run on the 18th. And then we're looking at September 30th.
30th or the 23rd?
Wait, that's 7 to 10 days, that's
We can't do-
adequate,
Can't do the 23rd?
can't do-
Okay, we'll do the 30th then.
yeah, that, if I can get it in the paper, yes.
Okay, well, you can actually put it in the paper now.
Yeah,
I mean,
this week,
if we said it,
Thursdays,
It's on Wednesday.
No, it's not just an ad, it's not just a public hearing, this has to be,
public notice.
We'll work it out.
We
Ms.
can do it by
Shelton.
the 30th.
okay.
I believe we can do it.
Look and see the timeline, if that doesn't work, we'll,
The newspaper's here.
I don't think she does that part of it.
yeah, that's above your pay grade right now, Lee. Okay, well, Megan, if you'd look into that, Ty, you can let us know, we can set the date. Okay, next item is alley closure request.
Yes, this comes from the Loudon County Regional Planning Commission as well. Barbara Greer is requesting closure of an open alleyway currently encumbering her property, and with her engineers here to explain the situation.
I am absolutely not an engineer.
Yeah.
My name's Wade Love, and I'm a land surveyor, and I work for MBI. And I have, I don't know if you all have the...
We do, yeah.
Okay, can you read it?
Mhm.
I brought extra copies just in case. The upper part of Hill Street was never a street. It was platted as an alley. It's an 8-foot alley. The tax map shows it going on up there as Hill Street, but it was never built, never maintained, and the Greer family owns both sides.
Both
of
sides.
it. So they're requesting to close that.
I know before when we closed one, half the property goes to one, half goes to the other, but she owns both
Shows
sides.
both sides, yes.
It's going to connect them both.
Right.
Yes, and I have the plat for that, to combine those properties will be after you all approve to have that closed. And if possible, I'd like to be on that special call meeting also.
Megan would also list his request on that same meeting, okay? As
What
far
time are we starting? What time would you start the public?
We'd do 4 o'clock,
4 o'clock for the public hearings?
yeah,
So 4 o'clock, 4:05?
yeah, 4:10.
4:10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do residential service.
Okay, any questions here about this alley closure? It's just something I guess you've stumbled up on doing the survey and.
Yes, they did own both sides, and they actually thought it was a street, but through my research, I found out that it is a platted alley, and that's it.
That's it, okay. All right, we'll take that item up too, on Monday night as far as first reading. Okay. H, council meeting date, Manager Ross.
Yeah, just really like to kick off a conversation. This can go as far as you like it, but in order to sync up with other public hearings that take place here in Loudon County, talking specifically about the county commission, I would like for you to consider the possibility of moving your regular meeting from the third Monday to the fourth Monday.
I think it makes a lot of sense. We discussed it with the previous council, but we had discussed utility board moving their meeting to the third to match up with ours, but they didn't really want to do that. So this basically just moves ours from the third to the fourth.
I think it's proper for you to go last in time.
Yeah.
And the reason is you've got other bodies that are sending recommendations to you or are asking you to approve this, that, and the other. And it just makes sense for you to be behind them so that you can receive those requests in a timely manner and enact upon them in the same month.
And that's something we have the right to change in the charter without taking it any other level to Nashville, anything, we have that.
We've got a handy dandy template because this body has changed its meetings before.
Right.
That was a time change from 1 hour to another.
Mhm.
This is simply a day change.
Yeah. I think it's
All
a,
you'd have to do is amend it.
yeah, that's right. We have the power to do it.
And this wouldn't take place until 2020.
Correct. And we have already advertised all your regular meetings for the year 2019. This change will not take effect until 2020.
Okay?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Any other comments? Ty, you got anything else that you can think of?
No, sir.
Okay, Councilmember Bivens, you have anything?
Yeah, the only thing is, I think council is aware that I will not be able to make a 4 o'clock meeting time for the public hearings.
Okay. We can make it later, if you want it later. What time could you be here? I mean, like, work,
6.
wanna do 6?
6:05.
Don't matter.
Change it to 6.
Okay,
6, 6:05 and 6:10.
Works.
Okay? Thank you. Councilmember Brewster, anything else?
When we did our budget this year, we had talked extensively on our Parks and Rec building. Evidently, it's kind of gotten on the power curve on it. I was under the impression we was already proceeding with it, we was gonna do along with that. Nicole, 4 years on board. But anyway, we talked about doing along, get our Parks and Rec building. We need to move forward and get something going on here. I was under the impression that we was already moving and already got an architect doing drawings.
We've had some very preliminary discussions with an architect. I've asked Parks and Rec Director Mark Harrell to coordinate completion of preliminary drawings that you can consider for future planning and budgetary purposes. I think we've solved the problem of the immediate space concerns. We've gone back to Plan A. Plan A was always Parks and Rec to be located inside this building. And due to the courthouse fire and other things that came up, we just had some emergencies that we dealt with. And I think we dealt with them in a proper manner, but things have calmed down. We've got some calm water, and we've moved some folks around to create some efficiencies, both from a customer service standpoint and a financial standpoint. And I think through those moves, we're going to be able to house Parks and Rec fully within this building. But if it is the community's desire to have a rec center, we can put together some renderings to look at and start planning and budgeting along those lines.
I thought we'd already discussed it. We already decided that's what we wanted.
I talked to Ty today about this because I had emailed that I thought we'd already talked about this in the budget meetings. What I thought we talked about in the budget meetings was an office building for Mark and staff to be in. I didn't realize what the building size and what I was going to.
So with the relocation, that accomplished what you thought?
What I thought we were going to be talking about. So I,
We need to move forward.
So as far as relocating them,
I recommended that what we do is if Mark could get his advisory board together and you all meet and come up with a full idea to bring before the council and use your advisory board
They
to
did
do
that.
that.
They did that. They came up with the location of 72 or inside the park.
But what all is going to be in it?
yeah, my question to Mark was, how big you want it, and what's your
Yeah.
plans for it, what's the,
We hadn't discussed all of.
I don't know
all
if
of
That
that's-
that.
building that you were talking about was discussed and was talked about building right there at the entrance of the
Yeah.
park. And it was to house Mark, his associate, and plus his secretary.
Yeah,
but not a recreation
It
center?
wasn't gonna be a recreation center. I recommend that you put something together for a recreation center.
yeah.
I recommend the city council come on board with it
I think we put this park together over 20 years ago. And this park out here needs upgrade. It needs, there's no reason why we have gravel inside any of our parks. They're 20-year-old. We should have done something about it. Now's the time, we gotta do something about it.
Well, some of
We gotta
those.
make it look better.
Yeah.
It's time for that park to get an upgrade. There's all kind of things that can happen to it. The metal on the roofs and all, not gonna be long, they're gonna have a painting job. They're starting to look bad, faded. Just all kind of things that needs to happen at that park.
I just
That I'm
wasn't
seeing.
fully aware of everything that you wanted in it. So my recommendation was get your advisory board together and then come up with your ideas and then bring them before us.
I'd like to answer both questions. There's probably two questions up here. We have discussed both. One being an office location, and then I guess you could say it turned into more and maybe a rec center. We have talked about a recreation center for 20 years.
Yeah.
We have discussed it. I think we got some plans from Jeff, Loudon Church a couple of years ago, and we applied for a grant to build a building similar to what Loudon has. We did not get the grant, kind of went to the wayside again, and just kind of dropped. In the movement of, as Ty said, with everything that's been going on, it's been discussed to move into a trailer or a location, as Councilman Dixon said, at the entrance to the park, and get us an office and get us established at the park. Once we start talking about that, then it moves back to the recreation center. So we've had those discussions in the Recreation Advisory Committee. I don't know if those discussions have been before this board. And
Right.
So the office situation's been handled, like
yeah,
Ty said, we're back to,
Okay,
plan A, right?
yes.
There's not a pressing emergency for office
Right.
space. I think everyone needs to clearly understand
Well,
that.
that was my point. I mean, there's nothing pressing right now that we gotta do something. I mean, we've accommodated the office space at this point, which was what we thought was the main issue at the point, doing something about it. So we've handled that.
But our vision needs to be a nice rec center. And I'm not saying making it happen this year, but it seems like it's been kicked around, yeah, we're gonna do it, no, we're not. I think it's time we do it.
Well, you said it's
We
been
need
talked about for how long?
20 years.
And, I'd wanna know what's his activities gonna be, how's he gonna staff it, what, those kind of things.
There's different pieces to this, and I've Mark and I've had this conversation. I've openly challenged Mark to articulate his vision for Parks and Rec over the next 5 to 10 years. What that vision is, he'll need help with, some professional help for renderings, to attach some pictures to the thought. That's one piece. The picture is an important piece. There's also the financial capabilities and constraints of the city. And you will look at that side by side with the visioning and decide what we're capable of in the near term and what could maybe be accomplished down the road with the help of grant funding.
Well, can this body not go ahead and tell Mark, let's get somebody like MBI to do the drawings that we're talking about?
I think Manager Ross and I discussed that today, and we have someone possibly coming next month. Innovative Associates, is that the proper name, Scott Powers with, that
Okay.
we've met with, some rendering.
All I'm trying to say is let's get the ball
So
rolling.
y'all report back.
It may take a year.
The meeting has been taken care of.
Yes.
Okay.
I think at this point, we could have something ready for you to look at and consider come budget season.
Okay. All right.
Which really should start in January.
Yes.
I have one more thing, and it happened again tonight, Barry, this is for you. We got a lady in town that's hauling 2 passengers on the back of her wheelchair. I don't know if anybody else has ever seen it, but now she's hauling 2 passengers. She comes by Main Street all the time. Used to it's just one, but now she's hauling 2. Is that against any kind of code or ordinance that she can haul passengers?
You're talking about those motorized wheelchairs, that's,
Yeah.
I think all the law that applies to them would apply to like a pedestrian. So, is it legal for you to pick two
Piggyback
people up and carry them?
As you piggyback.
I understand that it's concerned because they get out on the street. There's some areas that it would
Well,
be
you see-
dangerous, but,
You see kids a lot of times that they'll be on a bike and have somebody on the front pegs and somebody on the back pegs.
and, you know, sometimes it's hard to legislate against common sense, so, or to try to take in place of common sense, I guess, but I've had folks tell me about that in the past.
She hauled one quarter last week. Good justice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else, sir? Okay. Vice Mayor Dixon, you have anything?
Well, just about the planning commission, the historic planning commission, we approved for the hair barn to change their awnings on the building. And then there was an amendment to Loudon subdivision regulations from 50-foot road frontage in the cul-de-sacs to a 25-foot road frontage
For cul-de-sacs.
for cul-de-sacs.
Okay. Councilman James, you have anything? Thanks, good. One thing I just wanted to bring up, I did include in your packet, and utility board members got one evaluation form. Just take the time to go over that. Be fair and honest about it, and, get back with me if you have any questions on it, whatever.
Can we not table this to next budget? Yeah, at least give it a year.
We can do whatever the council wants to do. It needs to run from July to July, really, to get into the budget cycle, yes. So, it's whatever.
I just don't think it'd be fair to tie if we try to evaluate halfway through the first year.
I mean, it's the pleasure of the council, which y'all think I'm
It's just
open.
I would like to have an evaluation form for who he evaluates.
His department heads,
Yeah, just to kind of see what,
compared to, yeah, I haven't seen them, so.
Yeah.
And I got this one from UT, a template, and then Chairman Campbell and I worked on it to get it where it is.
that's just, part of his job is evaluating
Sure.
his, and I would like to see what all he has to go through.
Do you think you'd want to have evaluation now?
I didn't make this request.
Right, he did.
I'm asking.
Yeah. No, it was not a request of our city manager. It was decided back last year with the previous council. Councilman Jensen, remember, we did it, previous council was set in place when Mr. Canada was here to put in an evaluation process.
It's nothing against that. It would be more fair to them if we had more to evaluate him right now.
It's
We're kind of.
fine with me if you wanna push it to and turn it
I'll do it
in
either
next
way.
year. Whatever y'all.
Well, it is what it is, but we have a lot of unfinished things that's been started, but not completed, so I agree that it wouldn't be fair to say, we don't know what the outcome's gonna be on a lot of stuff.
Well, it just needs to be lined up in our budget, so we need to get that.
Maybe now that we're halfway through, it'd be a good time for us to do a mock evaluation. Any issues or problems, even have an opportunity to work on those before.
If
One that would
Yeah.
affect his,
well, we could.
I talk to him every week.
Yeah. And again, as Manager Rowe said,
Individually.
he's not.
we can each
oh,
individually, just not as a.
That's fine, if you want to do that, and then.
I think it's important to keep the
Official.
communication lines open. I think I do my best to facilitate that.
You know,
Do.
But
Give it to.
it's important to know where you stand, and I'm a person that believes in self-improvement. I'm trying to get a little better each day, and if you let me know what's lacking, I'll certainly try and fill in the gaps.
Yeah. He's proven that, and, on the last page of that, there's list objectives
I'm
and
not
things like
saying he's
that.
not, I'm just saying that it wouldn't be fair that we're halfway into our projects for this year,
Mhm.
that was scheduled for this year. We can't evaluate till those projects are done.
Yeah, when some,
He's doing a great job, I'm not saying that.
Mhm.
It would work better if we do it in budget cycle, that way we can base
Yep.
his salary increase every year, we'll have everything, or documentation.
That's the way it needs to get in line with that. So it's just a matter of, do we want to do a mock one, or do we want to just extend the time out and do it in a longer period of time.
I say we extend the time out, but we use the evaluation now
Okay,
as
okay, that's
to
fine.
each individually say, hey, this is where I'm at, this is improvement need, this is satisfactory.
Not for any kind of salary adjustment.
Right, just
you know,
as
that
a,
thing. And then we'll come back and do it again in May or
Our
something.
budget.
right.
Right. Okay, is that okay?
That's no good to you?
All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other business, anyone in the audience? Anyone up here? All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thanks for coming.